You are still watching the Entrepreneurial SME on Business Day TV, and my guests are Sivenathi Sibaca, CFOO and co-founder of SMTAX, and Nicolaas van Wyk, CEO of Chartered Institute of Business Accountants. Now, new research from global business platform Zero reveals that 74% of small businesses have grown over the past year, which is great. It was 62% last year. Most of these small firms are using generators to survive. You know why? We all know why. Now, there's a balance there. I got power issues, I've got other responsibilities, and then Nicolaas says to me, but you also have to worry about your books. Where's the balance? What do I prioritize? What do I forget about? What do I postpone?
Yeah, those are important questions. That's why it's so important before you start a business to have a strategic plan so that you know where you want to work with, and to also identify a cash budget. Now, budgeting will indicate to you when can you expect your income and when are you supposed to pay your expenses to plan. But it will also show you a very important part that I think is often missed, and that there should be a risk premium within your sales price. So your sales price needs to cover many things. It needs to cover your expenses, your assets, which includes your accounting fees, and also a profit section for yourself, but also a risk premium, which I think that's where most SMEs struggle with. So if everything goes well, there's nothing to worry about. But we know life is full of surprises. And when those surprises hit, you should have an additional premium in your revenue, in your price structure, to cater for those unforeseen circumstances.
Energy security seems to me has become a normal input cost, no longer a risk premium.
It's absolutely true. But accountants are also adaptable, so we work with SMEs. We have the same struggles as SMEs, so we would very easily work with you in your buildings. We want to see you succeed. Yeah, investing in energy is so important. It's a challenging environment we all work in, but that's why your pricing structure should cater for the expenses that you need to incur. It doesn't help you selling at a too low a price, because then you can't pay for what you need to pay. And that'll come back and haunt you in a year or two when all your cash has run out.
Sive, one of the challenges facing SMEs with dealing with accountants and outsourced accounting is transparency. I tend to feel that somebody's going to see me out. They're going to see that I'm doing either very well or I'm completely useless. Is that the only or one of the many challenges that we face as SMEs?
That's a very good one as well, because it is true, right? Most people, they say that you have to be honest with your accountant, you have to be honest with your lawyer, and some of those professionals, because frankly, they keep you out of jail, right? You may be doing something in your business illegally from an accounting or a tax point of view, especially relating to SARS, and you may not be aware, and you get, so it's a big risk factor to not have that kind of advice. So as much as it may be uncomfortable, think of accountants and tax professionals specifically as the only friend in business that really is looking after your best interest. So you have to be honest, and the numbers don't lie at the end of the day. So we can see, and it's not the first time we would see someone struggling or trying to, we know you get to understand human psyche as well. And so they will work with you to sort things out and ultimately keep you out of jail, ultimately help you grow your business. I think that's the angle we should all kind of look at it from as a small business owner.
From a 4IR, from a technology point of view, what are the considerations when I have to choose an accountant, whether they're going to be in-house or outsourced, Sive?
That question relates to your stage of business, right? A lot of people, if you're still starting out and you're not too sure, you want to manage costs down, it is advisable to start to look at how do you personally track your income and expenditure. And so ultimately, it's about getting the right system in place. So yes, get advice from an accountant. Tell them, I don't want to incur a fee. I just want a high fee. I just want to have enough systems so that I can, while I run my business, I can do my own bookkeeping and tracking. That is an option that's available. You just need to set it up right. And like I say, you can use mobile applications these days using technology. While you're on the job, it's doing the hard labor. It's recording transactions in your bank account. capturing invoices as you go, you know? So it does not have to be difficult. But ultimately, as your business expands and grows, and when you get more employees, you need to make sure that salaries are correct. You need to make sure that systems are correct. You need to make sure that someone is looking at your financials, because you need that advice. You need that tax advice. So yes, please do get assistance as your business grows.
Nicolaas, you guys at the Institute for Business Accountants will help with this part because it's very important. We may have spoken about the need for these things, but I think we have not spoken about something very important. What are these things? What are the key things that we need to track as SMEs from an accounting point of view so that we stay sustainable as a business?
So it's about your budget. Are you expending in line with what you planned? That is so important. We see not enough SMEs plan ahead and try and track the expenses they will be incurring. Looking at the expenses, there's two types. Those are expenses related to your production, your ability to produce a product and deliver it to your customers. And then there's the operational or administrative expenses like your rent and your stationery and advertising expenses. Then there's also the important ones related to assets, which is different from expenses. Assets are more long-term, and you need to make sure that you protect your asset base. Without assets, you can't deliver a revenue. So what the accountant does is he structures and allocates these different types of expenses in a way that's meaningful for the entrepreneur so that they can make better decisions.
And finally, Sive, at what point do I then graduate from outsourcing to you to doing things in-house?
Definitely, there is a point where you might feel that you want to have someone in-house that does a lot of the traction of the bookkeeping. So that's a viable source, especially if the accounting fee does not justify, if they get so high because of the bookkeeping admin that you might as well get someone in-house. Then yes, please do. But please make sure you get someone that is trained, that will still give you the same thinking and decision-making ability. And perhaps you can keep your tax consultant for strategies if that's what you might want to keep. But a lot of the bookkeeping we can do in-house. Those people can get trained. So, but it's about making enough money now to cover an additional salary cost. So the question is, can you afford to pay a fixed salary to that person if they only do bookkeeping? What else? What value do they add to the business? So think about it holistically,
Nicolaas van Wyk,
but ultimately,
Sivenathi Sibaca, I'm done. That's all I have time for tonight on the Entrepreneurial SME. From me, Mabote, goodbye and God bless.
Telkom Business, behind South African businesses' drive to thrive.